everybody, welcome back. I'm Jen, and this is the show, Baking with Jen. Today, we are getting ready for St. Patrick's Day. So, St. Patrick's Day is this coming up Sunday? Yes, Sunday. And so, I wanted to go over some St. Patrick's Day themed recipes to celebrate this holiday. So, the two recipes we're making today. We're making an Irish soda bread and we're making Millionaire shortbread cookie bars, those kind of things. All right, and it seems like Facebook is having an issue again today. Why are we having an issue, Facebook? Please hold for technical difficulties. Okay. This one right here. I'm here. My video. There's my live video. Streaming software. Streaming key. Yes, I should reset this. Copy it. I'm trying to see if we can fix this. Wait. Nope. Got it. Video. Yes, save changes. Right there. Let's go. Facebook. Come on, Facebook. Come on. Facebook. All right, come on, Facebook. Get it. Let's go. That's with the video. Okay. So I'm sorry, Facebook. You're gonna get a copy of the video later. I'm really sorry. We'll have to see what's going on and how we can fix this. But actually, let's see if we can go to other Facebook. Edit? Nope. Move this one, and let's see what we add this one. So changes. All right, are we going live on Facebook? And we're live on Facebook with Baking with Jen. You know what? I apologize. I'm going to put out a quick blurb just so that people on Facebook know where to go. Wow, this is not working. I am live on Baking with Jen. First. All right, there we go. Now we got the Facebook peoples on the race. All right, so today we're making Irish soda bread and then Millionaire shortbread. So we're going to start with the shortbread for the Millionaire shortbread cookies. That has to bake at 350 for 20 minutes. And then the soda bread needs to start at 450 and then go down to 400. And I'm figuring it's probably just going to be easier to bake the shortbread and then make the Irish soda bread while I'm baking the shortbread so that when we get to baking the soda bread, that will be fine. So yes, I actually just remembered I need to go get some. Let's do that a little bit later. So I guess I will start with turning the oven on to 350. Since that's what the shortbread bakes at. Let's see. Then we'll get the mixer cam over here. So today, we're weighing out our ingredients live. I didn't weigh them out ahead of time, so we're weighing them live. That's cool though. All right, so to start with our shortbread, the Millionaire shortbread recipe that I'm using is from Preppy Kitchen. I love his recipes. I love his channel. He does a really good job of um, kind of breaking the recipe down so that it's really easy to understand. I should have used his recipe for the boba, and I probably would have done a lot better. But let's see. This is the recipe for the Millionaire shortbread. Let me do this one. So yeah, this is the recipe for the Millionaire shortbread. So it's the flour, butter, sugar, egg, vanilla, salt. Pretty basic shortbread kind of recipe. And then it's going to have this caramel. And so we're going to bake the shortbread, take it out, make the caramel, throw the caramel on top, set that somewhere to cool. We're going to figure that out. We'll figure that out later. Anyway, take that to cool. And then while that's cooling, that soda bread will be baking. And then we'll put chocolate ganache on top of the shortbread, and that will be delicious. And hopefully everything will get done around the same time. That's the goal. We'll see if it works. All right, so Tim, come on. Why are there it goes? Why is it not responding? Okay. Okay, this is being slow for some reason. I think there's a lot of ads on this page, and that's slowing everything down. But that's okay. So, preheat oven, line a baking dish. We're not lining the baking dish just yet, just because I will do it more closer to time. But anyway, cream butter, add sugar, salt, and beat until light and fluffy. We're gonna go over to our mixer cam. So we're gonna get rid of all of this up here, over to our mixer cam, and we'll get started on the mixing part. Okay. So to start with, we need 1 cup of butter, which is 2 sticks. The only problem here is that I forgot to pull these out, and so we're still cold. These are supposed to be room temperature. So instead of being room temperature, what we are going to do is we're going to stick them in the microwave for 10 seconds and hope it works out. You know, just the try and pray method. Try it out and pray that it works. For me, it usually works. And yes, that is just a, not a euphemism, a saying. Like, just saying, I hope it works is my quote unquote prayer. So we have 10 seconds in the microwave, and then we're going to beat that with sugar and salt. I'm just getting the mixer ready, and there's the butter. Now, you can see this, I'm squeezing this pretty good. It's still hard, so I'm just going to flip these over and put them in the microwave for another 10 seconds. That's microwaving. We're setting up the mixer so that the cream butter. Check the butter out for just a minute. And if it doesn't get softened all the way, it'll be fine. It's not the end of the world. It's just we don't want it to melt. We want it to be light and creamy. why we're poking it with our hands first. Now this is softer, like you see it's kind of moving in the middle there. So I'm gonna flip it again and 10 more seconds. Now you might have the idea to throw this in for 30 seconds all at once. If you do that, you will melt your butter. If for some reason, the way microwaves work, if you do it at 10 seconds at a time, you'll get soft butter instead of melted butter. We're almost there. So after that, for the sugar, let's see. I did bring up the recipe a minute ago, but the recipe is linked in the description below. This isn't like room temperature, but this is definitely softened. So we're just gonna go with this in hopes that it's softened enough. I could probably do another 10 seconds. I'm just afraid it would get a little too melty if I did that. So we're just gonna use the butter the way it is. Wash the extra butter off my hand. Try to find out how much sugar we need because I'm having issues with the website. Like I said, I think it's all of the ads are just bogging everything down, or maybe it's the fact that we have 2 million tabs open. I don't think that's it though. All right, and I don't have 2 million tabs. I only have about 15. So let's see. Go all the way down. This is part of the reason I don't like these kind of recipes or websites. Anyway, now we're down here. Half a cup of sugar. Okay, one of the things I like about the preppy kitchen recipes is the preppy kitchen recipes tell you the grams of the ingredients on the recipe. It already tells you how many grams it is to weigh it out so that I don't have to do conversions. I'm really, really happy. So we need 100 grams of sugar. Granulated sugar, yeah. It said packed, and that just confused me. So we need 100 grams. And part of the reason why you cream the sugar and butter together is because the sugar is like sandpaper and it roughs up the butter and makes it an extra 15 grams because my pouring technique, well, it's okay, let's have a little extra sugar. So, sugar, salt. Salt, half a teaspoon. Again, measure with your heart, about half a teaspoon. You know how like they have the bartender games where they have to go through and like sling their bottles around and measure things out, and like at the end they measure, like, they actually like weigh it or actually measure it out, and they have to like see how close there is. I think there might be a fun thing to do with cooks like that, like if you eyeball half a teaspoon of salt, how close is it actually to a half a teaspoon of salt? All right, so it's like the TikTok trend where the carpenters like pull out the measuring tape, and it's like, where is 1 foot or what's 6 inches, and they have to like, and how many of them are on point or not. All right, so butter, sugar, salt, cream together. Okay, so I'm going to scrape this down and beat it one more time just because I'm of the impression the lighter and fluffier, the better. And so we're just going to get all of the ingredients down into the bottom of the bowl so that it's all in one place. And then um, we'll beat it again. And then we'll go into our egg and vanilla. So we're going to beat again. All right, that definitely looks fluffier. Oh, it feels fluffier too. Feels light and fluffy. We love it. Okay, light and fluffy. Next up, we have our vanilla and egg. And I believe this is just an egg yolk. Egg yolk. Yep. And so we need a teaspoon of vanilla. So a big log of vanilla. And one egg yolk. So let's push this aside for a second. We got a little bowl. With egg containers. So egg in the bowl. Egg yolk. Needs to let go of all the rest of the stuff. Come on, rest of the stuff, let go. Well, at least that's how you know you have a good egg. It all sticks together. All right, egg yolk. So I just toss that in the bowl. Egg yolk. So let me go wash my hands real quick and we'll get this beat up. So I'm just going to take a second and kind of mix this in just because fat and liquids don't mix very well together. And while beating them in is definitely going to be a lot more helpful, I don't want it to splatter. And so just a light fold in just to get it started. And of course, always try to scrape everything off because you want as many of the ingredients in the bowl and in the mix versus like on the beaters and those kind of things. Okay, we're mixing again. Try to get as much off there as I could. So all we have left is the flour for the shortbread. Yay, we're doing good. And see, it's still light and fluffy. So by using the beater and mixing it in really well, it's definitely looking awesome. Butter, sugar, egg, vanilla. So all we have is our 2 cups of flour. I'm going to start off with 1 cup of flour because that's just going to be really quick and easiest. So 1 cup of flour is 120 grams. So overall we need 240. So 112, 14, 20. Oh, that's like right on the nose. That's nice. Okay, so I'm gonna try to mix it in with the spatula. One, it does say to mix it in segments, but it also says something about what's it say exactly? Cream butter, beat again. Add the flour in a few batches and mix until just combined. So, see, just combined. All right, I am going to use the mixer on this one. We've got it mixed in a little bit, so we'll see how it does going forward. Squish. Mix. I want to say, even though it's only half of the flour, I am surprised by how creamy this still is. Like, I thought it was going to be a stiffer texture already. But no, it's fairly creamy and fluffy, so this is cool. This is cool. All right, so let's get this to fall off in the middle of the batter. Um, so let's add half a cup of flour. So another 60 grams. Anyway, we're gonna do another 60 grams. That didn't seem to line up right, but maybe there's just more on the thing than I thought. All right, so 26, 43, 56, 61. Close enough. Okay. Mix and fold and mix and fold. This is until it just comes together. But so far it's really light and fluffy when I beat it. So I don't know what that means. Well, let's just keep going and see if it like works itself out. That's how I do this most of the time. It's like, okay, I have this basic knowledge. Let's try to use that and then just do the keep going and see what happens method. Sometimes, like with the boba, I kept going and it turned out badly. Sometimes you keep going and it turns out amazing. Ooh, like the puff pastry. I don't know how that turned out amazing. But anyway, so we're going to mix again. Mix. Okay. So right now it feels, with the mixer, it feels a bit like a chocolate chip cookie dough. The same kind of texture as that. So I think that's where it's supposed to be. That's where we are anyway. So now we're going to do another 60 grams of flour. 30. Yep, there we go. All right, so that should be the last of the flour that we need to add. And hopefully this will come together the way it should. Mix. Oops. So I did mean to take that off. And what's this? I apologize. I need to wipe this. Hello? Yes? Sorry about that. Emergency phone call. Let's turn back to our mixing. I don't know if y'all could hear that. That was really annoying for me. Oh, well, that's okay. So yeah, we're just taking the, I want to say beef off of mixers, but that's not. Why is it stuck? Okay. We have sticky dough. It's sticking to the thing, which that's cool. We're gonna put it in a thing here in a minute. A pan. We're gonna put it in a pan here in a minute, and it does say to like grease the pan, or it says line the pan, but yeah, I already have liners and everything, so we're just gonna do that real quick in just a second. I'm just trying to get all of this off of here. It's just been really sticky. All right. So I got about as much off of this as I'm gonna, and so the shortbread dough is done. is put into a 9x9 baking pan with a lid is gonna work. Anyway, baking pan. We're gonna line the pan. This is a non-stick pan, and it's usually pretty good about not having things stick. But because we're gonna have caramel and chocolate and stuff in here, and I'm not sure what those are gonna do, we're definitely gonna line them. We got some pre-cut liners. So, bam, pan lined. So I saw this hack recently that was saying that you should get your parchment paper wet to make it go in better. I think we're going to try that real quick. I just want to see how it works when baking. So the hack says you get it wet and you wring it out, and then when you put it in, it like fits a lot better. See, it does fit a lot better. But I'm wondering if the water on the paper interrupts like the bake and how things bake. So we're gonna run a little experiment and see. Anyway, we got this in here, and just put our shortbread dough all on the bottom. Oh goodness! I'm trying to get as much as I can. Let's see if I can actually get it. When there's less stuff on the spatula, I can get a lot more out of the bowl. So scrape the bowl. See, it just gets out better. But it's been sticking to the spatula, so it's difficult. Okay. Yes, I'm a little obsessive compulsive about getting all of the dough out. It's okay. You don't have to be this like obsessed. This is just me and my like OCD tendencies to try to get as much as I can. So technically, use your spatula, spread it all around. My spatula is making me mad, so I might do some of this with my hands. I need food glue, like some kind of food grade glue, so that if it like chunks out of here, it's not gonna make anybody sick. But I need something to keep this on here because this is making me very frustrated. Okay. I'm going to do it this way. Press and fold. Oh, look, it's not sticking very badly. But I'm going to see if I can push some of this way. And then push this all out. Okay, that looks kind of evenish. There's a couple of like dips and stuff, but that's okay. Look, beautiful, beautiful. There we go. So that goes in the 350 oven for 20 minutes. I'm gonna put well, it says 22. So I'm gonna put a timer on for 20 minutes and we'll check that in a little bit. Timer sets. All right. Our next thing is our Irish soda bread. So Irish soda bread is a quick bread, so it should come together pretty quickly. I'm gonna get, I just see some cookie crumbs from like the mixer throwing it everywhere. So I'm just wiping all of those up real quick. And then another bowl. And we are making this easy Irish soda bread recipe. Let me pull that up for you. Let's see. Easy soda bread recipe. There we go. Let's fix my StreamYard. I love being able to stream with StreamYard. Actually, you know what? We're gonna this one in here. All right. So I love being able to stream. Sorry, there we go. I love being able to stream with StreamYard because I get to like I can share my recipes. Sorry. I can share my recipes. I can put multiple cameras. I'm streaming to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch right now. So I get my message out into a lot of different places. It records my live stream for me, so if I ever get around to editing them, then I will be able to edit them. But this is why I love StreamYard. And there's also have a lot of like brand stuff, like my logos over in that corner over there. My logo's in that corner over there. So what you can do like colors and I can like right now I had that the comments thing up there. That's something like StreamYard does. StreamYard's so super cool. I do have a link if you want to check out StreamYard, but that's just what I use and I love it. But Annie wants it. Soda bread. Soda bread does not require eggs. Somewhere it does require buttermilk. But the weirdest thing, where I live, I haven't been able to find buttermilk in the grocery store. I don't know if it's our grocery store just doesn't have buttermilk. If for some reason, because we're in a desert, they're like, deserts don't need buttermilk. So maybe that's why we don't have buttermilk. But for some reason, in our area, we don't have access. Well, I haven't been able to find access to buttermilk. If there's like a local farmer here in the town I live in that sells buttermilk, would love it. That would be great because the stores don't have it. All right, so this is the Irish soda bread recipe that we're looking at. Let's go down to say how to mix it, photo shoot, blah blah blah, all of these fun things. So, anyways, it's the way to make like your own buttermilk at home if you're not gonna make butter and then use the leftover milk, or make butter and then use the leftover cream for buttermilk. I haven't done that today, so we're just going to make like a mock buttermilk. Where is this recipe? Come on. My computer's being weird. Oh, there it is. We were at the bottom of the recipe for some reason. Okay, so it's 1 cup of buttermilk. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make our buttermilk. So let's go over to our mixing cam. Mixing cam ahoy! So now we need 1 cup of milk, which this just so happens to be a 1 cup. And when you're measuring milk, you should get on level and measure it even, just to get your best measurements. And then it's like a teaspoon of white vinegar. I have a huge tub because I usually use this for laundry. This actually usually lives in my laundry room. Oh, there we go. Good little glove. You can use lemon juice, vinegar, basically anything that's acidic, citric acid kind of thing. We're just going to let this sit for a few minutes while we get the rest of our ingredients together. All right, so to start with, besides the buttermilk, yes, we started the buttermilk, but other ingredients to start with, 2 cups of all-purpose flour. So that is the 240. My scale is missing feet, and so it measures accurately, but you have to leave it. If you move it, it stops measuring accurately because it then wobbles. Anyway, so we need 240 grams of flour. That's 127. Another thing of flour here in the near future. 184. Starting to knock things over. That's why I usually set things up a certain way. But somebody decided they wanted to take a shower right before live streaming. They're responsible live streamers. Oh no! Knocking cameras over too. Alright. Where are we at? 184. 220. We're so close. We just need 20 more grams. Alright. My flour thing. Flour bin's getting very. I do have another bag of flour like right here. So I don't think we're gonna run out, but if we did, I have it right here. It's not a big problem. Okay. 30, 230, 237. Come on. You're almost there. 239, 240. Yay, we did it. Yep, we need a flour refill. So, flour, baking soda. Cool. I usually use baking powder. Well, not for soda bread, but hey, haven't seen you in a minute. Nothing much. We're getting ready for St. Patrick's Day. We're making some soda bread right now, and we have some shortbread in the oven for Millionaire shortbread. We're just baking along. All right, so right now in the bowl, I have 2 cups of flour, and I need half a teaspoon of baking soda. And while I could weigh this out, and I even have like measuring spoons on hand, I'm going to measure it with my hand. Oops, that is way more than half a teaspoon. But it's kind of chunky, and I was actually just trying to like rub some of the chunks out. I don't quite think that's a teaspoon, so I'm gonna just take a pinch, an extra pinch. Okay. Yes, I'm just randomly measuring like that. Anyway, so we have our flour, baking soda. We're gonna do half a teaspoon of salt, and then our buttermilk that we made just a few minutes ago. See, super easy recipe. Half a teaspoon of salt. There we go. And it's a reaction between the baking soda and the acid in the vinegar that makes the bubbles that leaven the bread. So let's see, and it does look like there's still another 10 minutes on the shortbread. So I'm going to give this a little bit of time before we mix it because we don't want it puffing up too soon. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get started on the caramel for the shortbread. So, you know what? We need to go out and get a couple things from brunch. So, come with me. We have to go get our Dutch oven and the corn syrup. So, Dutch oven and corn syrup. Let's go. Oh, I am not prepared today. I thought I was a lot more prepared than this. I'm not. So let's just grab these real quick. Where's the Dutch oven? We have acquired a Dutch oven and the corn syrup. We can do these recipes. Yay, for the greater good. Whew. Actually, I don't think it's for the greater good, but pretend. Pretend it's for the greater good. Anyway, so the Dutch oven's to bake the soda bread, and then the corn syrup is for the caramel. So, I guess let's go ahead and start on this caramel. We're gonna need a pan. We need a pan, a pot. There we go. I'm just gonna use a small pot because I don't like it when it's too shallow. I'm gonna use a thermometer, and when the thermometer, when the mixture is really shallow, the thermometer doesn't like it touches the bottom and it doesn't get a very good reading. So we're just gonna start with the pan. So let's get measuring. Okay, so to start, for the caramel, yes, maybe that's not right about that. Oh no, we'll do that in a minute. Okay, instructions. Oh, come on. The website's not agreeing with me still. Okay. Yeah, it's just this website. The other websites are agreeing just fine. Just this website is not having fun today. So while the base dates make the caramel, candy thermometer, butter, brown sugar, salt, vanilla, sweetened condensed milk, and corn syrup. Mix it all in a pot pan, hot thingy, and have a nice lift. Okay, so we need half a cup of butter, so a stick of butter. And then 1 cup of light brown sugar packed, and that says 200 grams. I thought that brown sugar was more dense than granulated sugar because it has the molasses in it. That's what I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Like where did I put my scale? Scale. So we need 200 grams of brown sugar. Cup butter, 1 cup light brown sugar, 200 grams. Technically, brown sugar is usually measured packed, but part of that is because it's more dense, and so if you don't pack it, then it doesn't get as much sugar into a smaller thing, and so it doesn't weigh out correctly. So you need it packed. But since we're weighing it, it doesn't really matter. And what's it? We have our 200 grams of brown sugar and this is for a caramel for Millionaire Shortbread. Right now we're in the middle of making Irish soda bread and Millionaire Shortbread. All getting ready for St. Patrick's Day. So, butter, sugar, a 1/4 cup of syrup, light corn syrup, with real vanilla. Ooh, interesting. Didn't realize corn syrup had vanilla, but this one does. Okay, so 1/4 cup, and this says 60 milliliters, which if you know anything about milliliters and grams are basically the same thing. So we're gonna get 60 grams. 60. That little glug was 60. Perfect. All right. So our brown sugar, our corn syrup, our butter. We need a teaspoon of vanilla, so a glug of vanilla, and half a teaspoon of salt. Then our last grand finale is going to be it's a can of sweetened condensed milk, but I don't have that in front of me at the moment. I'm gonna have to go chase it down. So let's get this on the stove and let you guys watch this start melting. I'm just putting this on like a low heat to get it to start melting. We are going to need it to get up to 224 degrees, I think. I'll have to double check that. But so the only thing we're missing right now is the 1 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk. But the ingredients say to combine all of this, put it over medium heat and whisk until melted, combined, then continue whisking until it bubbles and darkens to a rich color. And 225, it starts to thicken. That should be about 5 or 6 minutes, and it's ready to pour on the shortbread. So let me go get the sweetened condensed milk while you guys keep an eye on this to melt for me. Okay, sweetened condensed milk acquired. It's a 14-ounce can, so this is perfectly what we need. All right. So we're going to open that and pour this in here. We're going to stir this around a little bit, but our shortbread only has like a minute and a half left. So we're going to go ahead and start. We're going to go ahead and start on the other thing that we're making, the soda bread. We're going to go ahead and get that all put together to put in the oven. The oven does need a minute to heat up still, so that's going to take our time for that. But sweetened condensed milk, full 14-ounce can. I'm going to stir this real quick too. So look at all of that. All right. Okay. I think I got about as much out of there as I'm going to get. So in this pot right now, we have butter, brown sugar, corn syrup, vanilla, salt, and sweetened condensed milk. And we are melting this down to be a caramel. We just need this to kind of melt, come to temperature, melt and then come to temperature. So that is the timer for the shortbread. So let's check on that. Turn it on so we can see a little bit better. Oh no, oops, can you see that? There, it's light and fluffy. I'm gonna leave it in there for a few more minutes. Actually, let's check. Really check on it. No, you can see on here from where I pressed it down with this, and then this kind of pressed into there. Oops, that's really fluffy. Yeah, we're gonna leave this in for a few more minutes just to kind of give it a more solid base. So let's set that timer for 2 minutes, and we got other stuff to be mixing. All right, so mixing sugar. This is still melting and doing stuff. So we're gonna do that. Then we have our soda bread. Okay, so we have all of our dry for our soda bread. This is just flour, baking soda, and salt. And then we have our makeshift buttermilk, which this is whole milk and vinegar. So we're just going to mix these together. And this should come together really quick. Though that's starting to not look like enough flour, but we'll see. This is a quick bread, so I expect this to come together pretty quickly. There's technically a little bit of kneading, but it's not really like kneading. It's more of a just make sure it's together as like a bread. I think that my weight measurement was off because this is too wet. I'm going to throw in the rest of the flour in this bin because I think it's going to take all of that for it to come together. So you can see it's starting to separate from the side and starting to be a little like a dough ball instead of like a thick batter. So now this feels a lot more like a wet biscuit dough. Oh, Cody, I didn't realize I had you on my Facebook. Nice to see you. So let's mix this together real quick. That was just the timer for the shortbread. So that should be just about done. There we go. And so this is just kind of a quick knead to kind of get into a decent shape, but it's sticking. It's so wet. Yeah. So Cody, do you do any baking? I do lots of baking, apparently. I have a whole YouTube channel about it. All right, so I don't think this is quite what it should be, but yeah, this needs a little bit more flour. This is just way too damp. All right, so we're gonna run a gamut and do a couple of things real quick. First thing, let's get the dough off of my hands. We're gonna need to add some more flour to this, which means I need to get into the flour, but we need to get up there first. All right, that's not working. So wash hands. You guys wash the caramel for a minute. So we're gonna stir the caramel real quick so that it's not super awful. And the recipe did say medium heat. I have this on low heat specifically because we're in a little bit everywhere. Okay. Let's see. Not much. Awesome. I'm glad to have you, Cody. All right. So right now we are taking bread out of the oven. Oh, this looks much, much better. Here, let me show you. So there's this light golden brown here at this edge. I don't know if you could see it because of the light, but you see the light golden brown here? With shortbread, that's what you're looking for, the light golden brown. This could probably use like 2 more minutes, but we're going to go ahead and pull this. It's going to stay in the pan. It's going to cool because we're going to put the caramel on it in a minute. But we need to start the soda bread in the oven at 450. So we're going to go ahead and up the temperature on the oven up to 450 so that it can raise in temperature while we finish getting the bread together. So stir the caramel one more time just so that we got hands on it and we're stirring. But this is pretty easy. So as long as this isn't bubbling, once it starts bubbling, I would not leave this alone. But until it starts bubbling, you're okay to leave it for a few seconds. Now, I wouldn't go to the store or anything, but it's okay for a second. All right. At this point, we've added all the flour of the recipe, and this is just kind of extra flour to make sure that it is the correct texture. So I'm opening a new bag of flour and getting some everywhere, but I'm just going to add a little bit at a time because I don't have like we're short half a cup of flour, so I can't just add half a cup of flour. We need it to be this texture, and it's not getting there. So we need it to be slightly kneadable. We don't want it to stick to your hands a ton like it was just doing to mine. So we want that to stop doing that. Technically, you can knead this on the counter, and I might do that here in a minute because kneading in a bowl is very annoying. But just fold and press, fold and press. And it's coming together okay. It's, like I said, it was just a bit damp, and so it's not sticking to my hands a ton. The center is still a little sticky, but that's okay. And so this is just a quick bread. It's flour, baking soda. I want to make sure it's baking soda, not baking powder. Baking soda, salt, and technically buttermilk. We didn't have buttermilk, so we had to make our own with milk and vinegar, but close enough. So this actually feels really, really small. I don't know if I did something wrong, but we'll see what happens. But it's together enough. This is a good consistency. It's kind of about the same texture as Play-Doh. So we got that pretty good. And then we have a Dutch oven. Now for soda bread, you want to do it open. Where's my plastic bag? Okay, that's very, very frustrating. I usually keep a plastic baggie in here to put all these little spacers in because I don't like it. I don't want it to bang on the edges and break it. So I have the spacers and I keep the spacers, but apparently my spacers have gone missing, or my bag for my spacers have gone missing. It's okay. So we need another. This is pre-cut parchment paper. So if you use wax paper, aluminum foil, just a roll of parchment paper, any of that's fine. This is just what I have on hand at the moment. So crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. We have this. You can make it into like an oval loaf or a circle loaf. I'm gonna do an oval loaf today. I hope they get bits bigger than this because this just looks really tiny and it looks kind of sad. Oh wow. If it turns out bad or wrong, then I'll let you know about it because that's usually what I do. All right, so you want a serrated knife, like a serrated steak knife would be fine, but you want something sharp, and we're just gonna make like a cut on it, and that's just kind of some relief lines so that as it bakes, you're telling it, I want you to spread here instead of having it like break open in all kinds of weird places. So we're just going to put this in the Dutch oven, and then once the oven comes up to temperature, we'll put that in the oven. Here we go. It's not sitting the way I want it to, so just bully it around. Just push it where you want it to. That's the good thing about dough. You can just make it do what you want. All right, so this goes into a 450-degree oven for 10 minutes, and then you lower the temperature to 400. So I'm going to put this in and set my 10-minute timer. And then I'm going to wash my hands real quick while we finish up the caramel. So if you don't know, sticky dough is a pain in the rear to get off of your hands. For some reason, it's extra stickier than like regular dough. So I hate to get it on my hands because it just takes forever to wash off. It's like it comes off in layers. That's okay. The butter is almost melted, and this is definitely starting to get warm. So I'm going to turn the temperature up a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and put on my candy thermometer. Technically, there is a way that if you have a cup of cold water and you test it periodically, you can tell what point to take it off. It's just easier to have a candy thermometer, and I think I got this. I think you can get them at the Dollar Tree. So they're not that inaccessible. But the only problem with the candy thermometer is that if you're not making enough in the pan for it to actually come up and cover, and you get really close to the bottom of the pan, then what happens is it takes the temperature of the pan instead of the caramel. And so, oh, no problem, Cody. Have a good day. But if the thermometer tip gets too close to the bottom, then it will take the temperature of the pan and not the caramel, and then you won't know when your caramel's done. So it's good to have it thicker, which is why I'm using a smaller pan so that it goes up higher. But everything's all melted now. I haven't seen any brown sugar chunks in a minute. I'm not seeing any butter chunks. So it seems like everything's melted. So at this point, we're just stirring it until it gets to 225. Right now, we're at about 125. So we're wanting it to come just above this line, and right now it's down. So we got a little bit, which that's good because it gives our shortbread time to cool. And I actually should pull this paper up because we're going to need to put caramel in this whole area. So hopefully it won't, the shortbread won't, or hopefully the paper won't mess with the shortbread or with the caramel. Holy cow, I have words and I know how to use them, I promise. That's okay. All right. But you don't want the caramel to be on too high of a temperature because if it gets too high too fast, it'll burn. And burnt caramel is no fun either. So it's a delicate balance. Oh, there's a chunk of brown sugar. You can see it's like a little black dot in the sea of whiteness. And you can just take that and smush it on the side of the pan and it goes away. It's one of my favorite things is to like find the ones that the chunks and then to help smooth them out. And I like it. All right. So this is the boring part where the caramel just needs to get up to temperature. But we're at about 150 degrees, so we only have 75 left to go. Like we are on our way. Enter your favorite on the way song. Like I'm thinking of like Shirley Temple. Like I'm on my way up. I don't know. I don't know the Shirley Temple songs. I haven't seen it since I was a kid in the 80s, so I was probably 5 or 6. So it might have been 1990 when I saw it. Only 30 years ago. It's fine. Um, but yeah, like not all, but a lot of movies that I watch have this kind of like I'm on my way kind of theme, and like a lot of Disney movies have it. And not Rapunzel, Tangled. Tangled has one, but we're just kind of waiting for this to boil. We can't like the sodas and the bread. The soda bread is in the oven baking. The caramel is heating. The shortbread is cooling. The only things that we have left at this point is to finish the caramel, pour the caramel on top, let it cool. I think I'm gonna put this in the fridge to have it cool real quick. Make some ganache and spread that on top. Let that solidify and then cut it. So like technically, there's not a lot going on right now. We're just hanging out while things are baking and melting and doing what they're doing. Okay, so we're closing in on 200. We're getting there. Nope, we're closing in on 175. Close enough. 175, 200, potato. But yes, you don't want to leave this just kind of sitting for too long. You want to make sure that you keep whisking, because if any part sticks to the bottom for too long, it'll start burning. Definitely get your spatula into the corners. I don't know if you heard that little sizzle a second ago, but that little sizzle means that you're pulling something up because that part of the pan is extra hot and hasn't been touching things. So if you're hearing that sizzling, then your heat is either too high or you're not stirring enough. So this is still very syrupy, still very watery. We're just waiting for this to heat up and it'll become more chewy. Let's see, we are at 175, so we have 50 degrees left. We're on our way. We're getting there. It's a patience game at this point. I can only think of Inigo Montoya. I hate waiting. It's okay. That's all right. This is one of the great things and terrible things about like making your own stuff. It takes time. But at the end of the day, it's like, oh, I have the skill and I can do this thing. And it's nice. Because if you can make this kind of stuff from scratch instead of having to buy it at the store, it might be a little bit more expensive overall to get all of the ingredients for it, but individually it's not more expensive. Do you hear that? That's because I wasn't stirring for a second. And all those bubbles that came to the top, because I wasn't stirring for a minute. Like, I can also feel it. It's like a little bit grainy against the bottom. Like you can definitely tell when it's smooth versus when there's bubbles there. Oh man. Like over here it's smooth because I'm mixing better, but around this edge it's not so much because I'm left-handed and I'm not getting over here so much. See? If you can be ambidextrous, it's helpful. But that's just kind of 75% of life. If you can be ambidextrous, it's so helpful. You hear that? That means that there's like a hot spot there. And that's the bottom corner of the pan that's making that sound. That's how that works. All right, what are we at? 280? Or 190? Yep, we're about 190. I said, this is just a waiting game. We're just going to stir and wait, and we'll get there. Now I got Moulin Rouge. One day I'll fly. Leave all this to yesterday. That's the wrong thing for this. Okay, so that was our 10-minute timer for the of the bread in the oven. So at this point, we're going to turn the oven down to 400, and then it gets another 20 minutes at 400. So set our timer for 20 minutes. And the bread is done. Let me double check on it. I can't see diddly because that pan is high and then the paper's sticking out and you just can't see anything. So we're gonna, be careful, this is napalm. It's not actually napalm, but like anybody who's ever worked with molten sugar will tell you, molten sugar is napalm. If you get it on yourself, you will get burned. It's not a, like, if you can get it off in 2 seconds, you'll be fine. No. This is molten sugar. Molten sugar will give you a 3rd-degree burn in less than a second. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. No writing home to your mom. Like, it will give you a burn. So I just got a little dot on my hand here, and this isn't quite super duper burning hot yet, but it's close. So just be careful. This is why it would be helpful to wear an apron. I just forgot to put mine on today. It's my son's apron. I really need to get my own apron. I want to get an apron that says "Let's bake" because I love baking. But we are at about 2:05, so we're getting there. So technically, you're supposed to have a whisk according to the instructions, the recipe, but I'm using my rubber spatula because I like how it cleans up everything better. It cleans off the bottom of the pan better. It gets in the corners better. Little rubber spatula. You just want to make sure that you have one that's stiff enough that you can actually mix with. You don't want one of those really flimsy ones because it if it catches on anything, it won't be able to move it. It'll just bend the spatula and it won't actually like mix anything. But like you see, we're boiling, we're bubbling. We got bubbles, we got boils. Like you see this, it's getting thick. We're getting there. It's almost. We're getting close. And so this is supposed to be like a softer caramel. This isn't like a super chewy, like break your teeth kind of caramel. Holy cow. I'm going to have no more fingertips by the end of this because this is just going to bubble all over me. I'm going to turn this temperature down a little bit because I don't like how much it's boiling. Like, yes, double boil in trouble, but not to the point where you're popping and trying to kill people, man. Like, I think if you poured molten caramel on somebody, you could get charged for attempted murder because it's just that terrible. Oh, I wonder if anybody has attempted to murder somebody by pouring molten sugar on them. I bet they have. They'll have the demon baker of Fleet Street killing people with molten caramel. Oh my goodness. We're about 10 degrees away. I'm so excited. We're getting there. We're almost there. We are almost there. Technically it says like to pull away from the sides and it says it should take like 5 minutes, but I prefer to do these things slower. Like I rather do it slower and have it take longer than to like super burn it or something. But this is a darker color. We have gotten to a darker color. It was really light earlier. This is definitely darker now. This is coming together nicely. I like it. It's nice and thick and syrupy. Let's see, we're at 210. Okay, here's 225. 10, 15, 20. So we're at 210. So we have 15 degrees left. And I just turned it down, so hopefully that won't affect it too much. I just don't like how much it's boiling. And I didn't turn it down a ton. Turned it down like half a thing. But let's give this a minute and see what happens. We've already been working on this for a while, so I don't know. We're stirring, and this looks like a lovely caramel. I really want to get it up to the correct temperature because I don't want it to be too runny. I think that like right now, if I were to take it off, this would be a great caramel for like caramel apples. This looks amazing. This looks like a great caramel apple caramel. So apparently around 200, 210, that's a great caramel apple caramel with this recipe anyway. It looks like it anyway. I don't know if like once it cooled, if it would be that nice creamy that I'm looking for, but it looks like that's what it would be. Stir, 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 stir. Stir, 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 stir. Stirring up nicely. Okay. And 215. 10 more degrees to go. Just keep stirring. Just keep stirring. Stirring, 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 stirring. Just keep stirring. Just keep stirring. We're doing awesome. Okay. This reminds me of the Labyrinth, and was it the bog of stench, bog of unspeakable stench, something like that. That's what it's reminding me of. That slow bubble, blub blub blub. Like it looks like it even pops that way. I wonder if they just made like a big batch of caramel for that scene. Like we're just gonna, or maybe they probably had air blowers underneath, some kind of like jello-like substance. But boiling caramel looks very similar, apparently. Well, at least it does to me. And I am the only person that matters, so I'm kidding. You're so close. It's still going. Still going. And you can definitely see this is getting thicker. Like it's getting thicker as we're sitting here stirring. Like I can tell. Can you guys tell? Maybe I'm too left-handed for this. But like stirring, this is a lot thicker. It's like coming off in a ribbon instead of like a stream. It's bubbling like the bog of stench. So this stench is a nice vanilla aroma caramel instead of, what was it, like wet hot garbage and skunk fart mixed together kind of thing. I think it's the bog of unspeakable stench. Like I think it's so stinky that no one knows where it's coming from. Got hot garbage, sweat socks, feces, and everything else that you can think of, all thrown together to make an unspeakable stench. And you will smell like that for all eternity if you get even a drop on you. I think I will avoid the stinky bog. It's still sitting at 215. I wonder if I turned it down too low. I didn't like how much it was like sticking to the bottom. And this is one of those things that like the more you go, the faster it changes. So like if I kept it at the same temperature, we'd probably already be there. But like it's much more likely to burn like going at that high of a temperature. Like I'm having a hard enough time keeping it from like burning on the bottom right now. Like you hear that? That's where it's like too hot on the bottom and you need to like separate it. So this is definitely at the point where it takes continuous stirring. If you left this alone for any period of time right now, it would be terrible. You would have a burnt caramel mess. Please don't leave this alone. Friends don't let friends leave caramel unattended. Gosh, that needs to be a shirt. Friends don't let friends leave caramel unattended. Uh-oh. Okay, give me 24 hours. I will get that in a merch something somewhere. There we go. We have our new shirt. Friends don't let friends leave caramel unattended. Am I the only one who thinks that's incredibly funny? Probably. Coming in with a whole new merch line specifically because of caramel. Ain't it like me? Oops, we're at 220. We have 5 more degrees to go. Yes, we are getting somewhere. We are doing a thing. We are doing the thing. Yay, I like it. It is working. Yay, us. Go team Millionaire Shortbread. Go team Caramel. All of the above. Oh my goodness. Yep, definitely gonna need to set up some kind of store because friends don't let friends leave caramel unattended. I even have like a perfect meme. And have like a stove with a pot of caramel sitting on it and like a stick figure walking away with a big like red X over it. I can see it already. It's gonna be amazing. Friends don't let friends leave caramel unattended. Practice safe baking. Oh my gosh. I'm such a millennial. It's okay. I love it. If you're an amazing millennial, say something. Quite honestly, you could say that about any generation. If you're an amazing silent generation, leave a comment below. God, is there anyone from the silent generation watching YouTube? Because I'm thinking of those of like the 90-year-old grandmothers and grandfathers. Like, how many 90-year-olds are on YouTube? Like, for real. Not necessarily like making videos, but watching YouTube. Getting really close. It's getting close. We're getting there. This is smooth and creamy, and it's very caramel looking. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that I have a thermometer that's telling me it's not ready yet, I would totally be like, this is ready. Let's pour it. Now, those couple of degrees are probably really important for making sure it solidifies correctly. So we are going to finish with those last couple of degrees, but Yeah. So one of the ways in general to make caramel is if you take a can of sweetened condensed milk and like put it in a pot of boiling water for 20 minutes. You put it in your pressure cooker for 20 minutes. Put it in you want it to be in a liquid method. So like if you put it in your pressure cooker, you're of course gonna have water in there. You're gonna put it in a pot of boiling water in there. You could put it in the oven in a pan of water, like pan of water, can like partially covered, put it in the oven. Like you can do that. I personally think if you don't have a pressure cooker and you're choosing between a pot on the stove and the oven, a pot on the stove is probably going to be better. But you do you, honey boo boo. Like, I'm not going to judge you. Okay, I'm going to silently judge you and wonder why you're doing it that way. But I know people are silently judging me, wondering why I'm doing things the way I'm doing them, because I do them in weird, crazy ways too. So it's like, you're doing that weird. And that's about where the judgment ends. See, it's a judgment-free zone. No, it's not judgment. Well, I guess I'm judging you for free. You don't have to pay for it. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to be judged. It just means that no one's going to say anything about judging you. Oh. One of the reasons why it's good to have free thoughts. Like, you need to be able to have free thoughts. That's probably why we can't read each other's minds. So we can have freedom in our head to think what we want to think. Now, most of the time, you're probably wrong, according to experts. So just because you think it doesn't mean that it's true. I agree with that. I have to remind myself that often. But just because you think it doesn't mean that it's true. All right, so this is right kind of at the bottom of the 520 or 225. So I'm going to give this just another minute or two just to kind of make sure that it's like at the 225. We'll even let it get up to 226 maybe. We're going to go wild and get it up to 227. Oh, like, there's a crazy day in the neighborhood. Whew. All right. Stir, 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 stir. Like, it's getting up here. The pan's too hot over here. I'm not doing enough to keep it from the pan over here. Okay. This is like, oh, this is much thicker. I don't know if you can tell by looking at that ribbon, but that is much thicker. Like, I can feel it in stirring. I can see it. Like, this is thick. THICKKK. Thick. But let's see what the temperature reader says. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to turn this off. We're going to take our thermometer out and try to wipe off our caramel because that's how I am. I want every bit of caramel in the pan. There we go. All right. And then let's just stir this up really good. And this is going to be a little problematic that the paper won't go down, but let's see if we can get around that. All right, so here we are. I can't like pour and hold everything. So I'm gonna put part of this on here and try to lift up the paper before it goes over. And then spread this over here. Hold that paper up. Hold the paper up. Go over here, please. There we go. Hold the paper up, please. Oh, and then pour the rest of the caramel in here. It's bubbling away because the pan's still hot, and I put it back on the hot stove. And Hot, hot, hot caramel. Okay. Sorry, I know I'm blocking your view. There we go. And since we put it under the paper, it's pushing the paper up. Like doing I am immediately putting water in that hot pan because I don't want it to go crazy everywhere. All right, so push this out to the edge. Picking this up, go out to the edge, out to the edge. Okay, hopefully, because this is kind of bending in, so hopefully it won't cause too much of an issue. Okay, we have our nice caramel, we have our shortbread cookie, we have our caramel. Oh, and that is our timer for our bread. Holy cow, we are doing things. Okay. So, caramel needs to cool. I'm going to put this in the fridge for a few minutes and let's get our bread out. So, okay, caramel's in the fridge. Let's get our bread out because it should be done. Our soda bread should be done. Cool. It looks done. It looks taller than I was expecting. It also broke along the bottom instead of the top here. So, got a nice color on the bottom. Can you see that? Okay, let's turn the oven off. That is gorgeous. All right. This is funny. I'm just kind of rearranging everything in the kitchen as I go from one thing to the next. So, like, nothing's where it's supposed to be. All right. So, let's look at the cooling rack. Hello, cooling rack. And our soda bread. This looks good. Now, I don't like how it broke along the bottom here. That's why we cut it around the top. It was supposed to like break at the top point, but it didn't do that. So I'm not sure why it did that, but I was also hoping it would be kind of more round. Maybe if I had made it more flat. So I'll probably make another one on Sunday, and we'll just see if I can get it to look better than this. But this is cool. This is cool. This is definitely going to be delicious. This is going to be awesome. I'm really excited to try this. I'm just going to let this cool before we try it. So, all right. We are on a roll. The last bit that we need to do for all of this is our ganache. So, let's do some camera rearranging real quick. Stage, remove from stage. Actually, I'm going to do this right here, and then present. This is being slow. There we go. Present. Nope. Yeah, we need to stop the screen because it's for the soda bread. But we're going to share the screen for the Millionaire Shortbread. Or maybe let's try that one. Oh. Anyway, Millionaire Shortbread. Come on. Wake up. See, this website is having an issue. I don't think it's StreamYard. I don't think it's my internet provider. I'm pretty sure it's the Preppy Baker, Preppy Kitchen thing. I don't know. Why is this recipe having such an issue? Reload. Come on, Preppy Kitchen. Why are you being so mean to us? I'm giving you love. Stop being mean. Alright, so the general way that we make a ganache is that we heat up cream. Yeah, I know it is unresponsive. Boo. Anyway, so frustrating. Okay. Anyway, ganache. Chocolate bowl. Heat up cream, Pour cream over chocolate, stir. That's how that normally works. Where are we? Reload. Reload, reload. Okay. So, I don't know what the amounts are, but let's go ahead and get, I'm going to go get the measuring cup we were just using a little while ago. It has caramel in it because I wasn't thinking the caramel still in it. Okay, we got another glass measuring cup. I just need to know the amounts. And it's not telling me the amounts. And that's very frustrating. Okay. Oh, now it looks just fine. Really? Really, Preppy Kitchen? I think they just have too many ads on their site. Okay, Mr. Preppy Kitchen Man, John Candle. Kendall? Candle. K-A-N-E, Candle. K-N-E-L-L. Candle. Okay. Mr. Preppy Kitchen Guy, your website is glitching because there's too much going on. You need to simplify. Just so you know. Personal call out to John Cannell to get his team to look at the website because it's being laggy. Right. See the strings. Okay. So ganache. We have 1.5 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips and a 1/3 cup of heavy cream. So let's do heavy cream. Heavy cream. 1/3 cup. Let's switch cameras. Okay, so I'm not actually using this to measure. I'm going to use the lines on here. So let's just take that because it's uneven. And we're just measuring a 1/3 cup. So it's going to be not very much in this one. 1/3 cup. Ooh, I wonder if we can just do this reverse cowboy. All right, so 1/3 cup. I'm going to put this in the microwave for 30 seconds. Okay, so we need 1.5 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips. How much does that measure up to? What? Oh, so that's almost a bag because a 12-ounce package is supposed to be 2 cups, according to Nestle. So let's get a new bag. Let's get a brand new bag. Okay. Swirl, swirl, swirl. Ooh, that's nice and warm. Okay, let's get another spatula. And we are, again, reverse thing this. So, since this is 12-ounce package, and it says a 12-ounce package is 2 cups, and we need 1.5 cups, we're going to take this. We're going to take a 1/2 cup measurement, 1/2 cup measuring cup, pour off 1/2 cup of chocolate chips. And I'm gonna try to fit as many on here as possible. I'm technically trying to use less chocolate, just so I can make sure it's kind of fair. And then there should be 1.5 cups left in here. Boom. Into the cream. And then you stir. And the heat of the cream is supposed to melt the chocolate and get it all creamy. Creamy ganache. So you can already see it's kind of melting a little bit. It's sticking together. The cream is turning brown from the chocolate. It's working really well. This spatula is a little floppier than I would like to use for this, but it's okay. See, I'm it's bending in the middle. I don't like it. All right, let's just get a spin. I'm gonna need the spatula again here in a minute when I go to like actually finish stirring in the sides and everything. But for this milk, just gonna beat it up a little. Maybe it wasn't hot enough. I don't know. It seems to kind of do okay. I'm not sure if I'm gonna need to heat this up some more or not. If you do need to heat this up some more, it's just a couple seconds in the microwave. Seriously, like 10 seconds. Don't put it in for 30 seconds. You put it in for 30 seconds and you'll end up with an explosion in your microwave and burnt chocolate, and you're going to be very upset, and then you're going to need to eat the rest of the chocolate, and then you won't have any chocolate for your Millionaire shortbread cookies. So just don't fall down the rabbit hole. That's not a rabbit hole you want to go down. Just be patient, stir, stir, stir. And then if you get to the point where you're like, I'm stirring and it's not doing anything, then stick it in the microwave for 10 seconds. 10. Not any more than 10. But see the way I'm doing this, like the chocolate's breaking up. It's still doing something. So as long as it's still doing something, keep going. If you're going through hell, keep on moving, don't back down. Might get out before the devil even knows you're there. Yep. Okay, so now see I'm getting to a point where I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't quite doing something. I'm stirring. I know you can't see much. Like it's still chunky. I'm stirring. The chunks seem to just be moving around. So I'm just moving around chunks. Like they're separating a lot more now. So like they're separate chunks, but I feel like it's still just being really chunky. And like the chunks aren't going anywhere. So take the spoon out, use the spatula, flop it around a bunch. It's still chunky. We're still really, really chunky actually. So yeah, we're gonna toss this in the microwave. So try to scrape, get everything off of the edge that you can. Try to clean off your stuff and get the chocolate stuffs back into the bowl, the container, the mixer, whatever you're doing it in. And I'm gonna hold on to these because I don't want them to go on the counter, but 10 seconds in the microwave. Doesn't look like it's changed. We're gonna start with a spoon. It's already a lot smoother, I can tell. A lot smoother. Like the chunks aren't nearly as chunky. Going around the edges, like I'm not feeling, there's a little bit of stuff stuck to the wall. But we're working on it. It's coming off easy anyway. Stir, 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 stir. Like this chocolate is getting smooth. It's doing good. Here, it's kind of where it needs to be. So scrape off the spoonula. Okay. Spoon is scraped. Spatula stir. All the sides are good. Flop around in the middle like a dead fish. Look at that funny. And then swoosh around. All right. We have ganache. It's all melted. It's all beautiful. Melted, beautiful ganache. Lovely. Next step. Take our Millionaire shortbread out of the fridge. And again, I'm going to try to pick this up a little bit because I don't want the chocolate going on top of it. I want it going under it. So then we're just going to spread our chocolate over everything. I prefer to have like a big chunk in the middle that I can spread out to the edges than to have a bunch on the edges that are just gonna fall over everywhere and make a huge mess. But that's my preference. Like if instead you want to go down the sides and be everywhere, like that is your decision. But so just taking it out to the edges. And like I said, I want to make sure I pull this back so that the chocolate can get under the paper and so the paper's not in the way. It looks like maybe a couple of chocolate chunks, I don't know. All right. So we're just trying to smooth this out. Up under the paper, smooth out. Man, this is so good looking. Okay. Even out the chocolate. All right, and then I'm gonna put this back in the fridge for another, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes or so. So here's the bread. It's looking good. We're not going to cut into it just now, but bread's looking good. Millionaire shortbread's looking all good. We need this to finish setting. We need this to finish cooling, and then we'll be able to kind of get into those and see how those are doing. Let's switch this over. Oh, I'm on it already. Oops. I have to remove. Be nice and big in the center here. All right. So yes, we made our bread. We made our shortbread. Those do need a few more minutes to cool down. So I will write up a blog about these and take pictures and all that kind of fun stuff. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you want to see more of what I'm doing, you can go ahead and like and subscribe. I live stream every Tuesday and Thursday starting about 12:30, and I try to go for about 2 hours, but sometimes it's a little less, sometimes it's a little more, and just depending on what we're making that day. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me today. Check the links for if you want to sign up for StreamYard, or if you just want to see how these turn out. bakingwithjen.squarespace.com. Go check me out there. You can also check out the Facebook or my YouTube. So thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you later.